And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, today the Port of Oakland will be voting once again to see if it's time to change the name of the Oakland Airport. Currently, it is the San Francisco Bay Oakland Airport, and now they want to change it to the Oakland San Francisco Bay Airport.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
You know, it would be a great thing to change a name to.
What's that?
It should be the Lou Alcindor Airport. Wouldn't that be a curveball?
You know, last year when they changed it to San Francisco Bay, didn't we do a whole hour of calls at what they should call that airport? We might have to do that again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, 99% of the suggestions weren't appropriate.
And a lot of them had to do with Shanghai.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Do we have the guest?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's go ahead and give a warm welcome to our next guest. He is the host of the podcast Morning with Bill and Joanne. He's also a former senior editor at Stuff Magazine and best known for his time on the late night program Red Eye on the Fox News Channel. You can follow him on X at Bill Shulz. Bill Shulz, welcome.
John, how are you, old friend? Thanks so much for having me.
I'm good. Thank you so much for stopping by. I love hearing your voice.
That airport reminds me of when they were the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, as far as convoluted what's going on titles are concerned.
Oh, we still are, and that's a sore point for people in Anaheim.
Oh, I'll bet. I can only imagine.
So let's start out with the sad news today that we learned this morning that iconic professional wrestler Hulk Hogan has passed away. Hulk Hogan, arguably the biggest name in professional wrestling, and the guy who took that sport from essentially something akin to being a carny to something that is now putting people on the map where they're opening up big budget movies and it's a $1 billion industry. And Hulk was really the one that took it mainstream and made it okay to watch professional wrestling or have these wrestlers on the late night programs or the daytime talk shows. I know Arsenio Hall used to have them on all the time. If there was no Hulk Hogan, that would have never happened.
1,000%. You and I are gentlemen of a certain age, and Hulk Hogan, as of basically 1984, was basically, and I'll speak for all of us, our everything back then. And like, you know, when he, I assume, met Mr. T at Rocky III and then teamed up with him for WrestleMania, I mean, that was bigger than the Super Bowl as far as kids were concerned in the mid-'80s. And, yeah, I mean, I have actually two questions for you, and these are they sound flippant, even though I don't really know what flippant means. But the question number one is, I have never gotten an answer as to why his name was Thunderlips in Rocky III, and it's just an odd choice. But and the second question, and I'm actually legitimately sincere in asking this: what's the over/under on Peter Thiel going to his funeral?
Oh, that is a very good question. Because Peter Thiel, of course, was the one who had the beef with, what was it, the magazine, Gawker?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah,
Gawker
and
put up,
basically...
Go ahead, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I prefer to hear your dulcet tones than my nasal voice. But, yeah, I mean, basically... he was very angry that Gawker essentially outed him, and he sort of bided his time. And then when Gawker sort of nefariously released and it was brutal to watch, the Hulk Hogan sex tape, I think only second in grossest sex tapes, with Gene Simmons being, of course, number one. But when Gawker released that by nefarious means, he funded Hulk Hogan's lawsuit and basically destroyed Gawker. through it and put all this money into it as sort of Hulk Hogan's silent benefactor. And and so they were always intertwined as a result of that. And I wonder if he's going to show up.
Well, I don't know if they were friendly with one another or it was strictly just a business relationship because Hulk had the winning lawsuit against them and Peter wanted to get revenge against Gawker. So if the two of them built a friendship over time, I could see him showing up to the funeral.
I would assume he would. I mean, he made Peter Thiel a Hulkamaniac because, I mean, I don't remember exactly what Hulk got from that lawsuit, but it made him a hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, I don't necessarily know how much they ended up paying, but it was a big lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. And Hulk Hogan was a guy who, when he was a big star, and I'm sure Hulk Hogan made big money by those standards, but you look at what people get paid today, and even a guy who is a low man on the roster gets paid more than what Hulk was making in the 1980s and 1990s. A lot of those guys ended up going broke. A lot of those guys ended up having to take jobs when they quit wrestling because they were broken down. They had a lot of physical problems. But Hulk Hogan was able to basically reinvent himself even after he finished wrestling.
He stayed relevant as a wrestler and a personality up until his sad death today. Yeah, at 71. And you know what the crazy bit is? Ozzy Osbourne beat him by 5 years. Ozzy was 76. That's insane. That is
okay.
Insane.
Going back to the trial for a second, my favorite thing about Hulk Hogan, well, one of my favorite things about Hulk Hogan, is that he has the red bandana that he wears when he wrestles and goes down to the ring. But when he testified in court, I don't know if you noticed this, he wore a black bandana on his head, like it's the formal bandana.
Yes. I absolutely forgot that, and now I'm absolutely having a visceral memory of it. And good for him for putting on his formals for all things trial. I respect that. I totally remember that. Yeah. And then, God, I think he was like selling some beer called America or something. Or maybe it was just Hulk beer or something recently. But, I mean, he was the hell of a businessman. And, again, stayed relevant right up until the end. He was an original. Well, and also, by the way, this put me down a total wormhole. Full credit to my brother. I'm sure other people have said it, too, because my brother's not that smart. Alfred, because he was the first to sort of really put it in my mind that Rocky 1 and the very underrated Rocky 2 were very grounded in reality. There was a lot of pathos in Rocky 2. We find out the poor guy's illiterate. Adrian almost dies from a bad pregnancy. There's a lot going on. But Rocky 3 is when it goes into cartoon land. And it doesn't stop after that. And of course, Hulk Hogan was paramount in that when they do the Ford charity fight between him and Sylvester Stallone. And because I'm very single and have a lot of time on my hands, I went down the wormhole that was what that was based on. And it was in 1976, Muhammad Ali went to Japan to fight a professional wrestler there. And at first they thought it was going to be all fake, but Muhammad Ali wasn't having it, and the Japanese wrestler wasn't either. And I think it ended up being the draw. It's really weird. Someone's got to do a documentary on it. The wrestler laid on the mat and just kept kicking him, and Muhammad Ali almost got very injured. It's the weirdest. I'm not doing it justice, but the entire story is beyond belief. Bat-S. I don't want to swear on the radio, but it is. I urge everyone to look it up, find some YouTube clips. But that whole thing is what they based all of that on Sylvester Stallone and Hulk Hogan in the cartoon land that is Rocky 3. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed when Rocky went into cartoon land.
I think we all did, and it did well at the box office, of course. But Bill Shulz is the guest. You can follow him on X at Bill Shulz. Bill, the late night world has been rocked this week with CBS announcing that they will not be renewing Stephen Colbert's late night program. You, of course, were on Red Eye, the late night program program on the Fox News Channel for years and years and years. Really the first late-night program to appear on a news channel. Colbert, of course, is on network television. But even though you guys were on a news channel, whenever you would talk about whatever was going on in the news or you had a politician on, you always had fun with it. You guys always went for the punchline. There was always a smile at the end of it. It was a show that was a lighthearted show. And even if you talked about serious things or you had serious people on, news people, politicians, whatever, it was still a way to let your hair down and to have fun with it. With Colbert, and I don't know if you're a fan of that show or not, but it was almost like a serious cable news program where they'd have these serious people on or these politicians on, whatever the case may be, and he would do these deadly serious interviews with them, and there was not a lot of fun to be had at times. And I just thought to myself, well, this guy's putting a target on his back, because if you're not doing a traditional late-night show where you're having an A-list actor on who's opening up a movie or a Comic-Con who's going on tour or something of that nature, and you're just having politicians on to talk about serious things, at some point CBS is going to say, why are we paying for the studio audience? Why are we paying for the band? Why are we paying for the Ed Sullivan Theater, which costs a fortune? And your days are just numbered. And I think that when he made that decision to go super serious on late-night TV, on network late-night TV, that was the end of it. Your thoughts?
Good Lord, yes. And as one who has a little experience in kind of that format, I mean, I hate the word parody because it wasn't parody, but like we were sort of kind of making fun of panel shows. So it's, I guess, a slightly different format. But yeah, I mean, we were kind of a talk show. And we did that thing or at least I was on there for 7 years. It went longer than that. I believe I'm only contractually allowed to say that we both agreed part ways in a mutually amicable way. I think I said that correctly. But what we did do was do it on a very shoestring budget. And it is a very easy thing to do. And 1,000% everything you said. First of all, lose the band. No one gives a crap about the band. Cut the writing staff in half. You don't need them. Half the time, the writers are there, and they're dead weight, and they don't get anything on. I mean, there's a million ways to turn this very tired format into what it has to be now, which is something like Conan O'Brien's podcast, which is just him, his producer, his lovable assistant, and a guest. Bare bones. It's very entertaining. Conan's bigger than ever through that. And for all the older people, and they're really the only ones that watch late night TV now, they won't listen to a podcast, but they'll be more than happy to tune into a bare bones version of a televised podcast. And that's the only way that format would survive. And also, I'll age us again, as we are, of course, Generation Hogan. When you and I were growing up, no one ever knew what Johnny Carson's politics were. No one knew what any talk show host's politics were. As irreverent as Letterman was, and as much as he changed the format, Letterman went after NBC, but he didn't really go after politicians. I mean, I don't remember exactly when the parameter sort of changed with regards to that, but it certainly did. If you are a talk show host now, you have to have a political opinion one way or the other. And I honestly do not know when that changed, but it changed dramatically.
Well, and also with these companies that just get so big, like let's just take Kimmel on Disney, for example. If you're doing a late night show that costs a fortune because you have the theater and the band and everything else, the studio audience, and you're just talking to politicians, you bring Elizabeth Warren on to talk about some bill in the Senate, whatever the case may be, it doesn't make the loss worth it to Disney. If you could show that you're helping Disney out in some other way, if you're putting an actor on who's starring in a Disney movie that's going to make $1 gazillion, and you're helping to run up that score by giving them more exposure, then Disney can say, okay, look, the show's losing money, but it's worth it to us in other ways. But if you're just having the politicians on and you're not promoting the other aspects of the company that actually do make money, I think you're digging your own grave.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty simple business model that they're just not doing. And the one thing, I guess Colbert still was like apparently ahead in the ratings with versus Kimmel and Fallon, but that doesn't really matter because the big thing is obviously in this 21st century way of digesting media, it's all about the YouTube hits. And Fallon and Kimmel decimated him on that. He was never getting big YouTube click-worthy type stuff, whereas Fallon and Kimmel, even though they still have an antiquated model, they would just set up certain types of bits that were just immediately YouTube friendly, and Colbert never really did that, so the writing was on the wall.
Do you think that Fallon will likely be the last man standing because he is still having the actors on and he's probably the least political of all the hosts, and he does have people on who are promoting other NBC properties, those sorts of things?
Yes, and yes. I mean, he's sort of the least controversial of all of them. And also, Kimmel, I just feel like, excuse me, has had one foot out the door for a couple of years now. I mean, there's been several summers now where he takes the summer off, like all of our wonderful teachers, and just gives it up to guest hosts throughout that summer. And I just feel like he's had one foot out the door for a while now. So, yeah, it's just, and again, I hate to go back to Conan, but when Conan left TNT, he saw the writing on the wall. I mean, this is just a really, really tired format that served its purpose for 60, 70 years almost. But that overall format is pretty much done for now. I just, no one cares. I mean, like back in the day, you would always talk about what Carson said the night before and then following him Leno or whatever, or Letterman. But no one, I mean, there probably aren't water coolers anymore, but no one's talking about any of these guys at the water cooler that doesn't exist in an office they're not going to. But no one discusses, hey, see that thing on late night last night? No. Not even, like, it's whatever weird pseudosexual thing happened on White Lotus. It's none of those guys.
The podcast is Morning with Bill and Joanne. You can follow Bill Shulz on X at Bill Shulz. Bill, thanks so much for stopping by. Great to hear from you.
I can't thank you enough, buddy. I miss you.
Likewise. We'll chat again real soon. Bill Shulz, everyone. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can do what Mr. George Gascon does to himself in the middle of the night.
Do a Google on YouTube.
You can get the KABC app. You can get the KSFO app. There are so many ways to listen to this radio station and download all the podcasts. And what's great about the podcast and really listening on the stream, you can listen wherever you are, not just your car, not just your office, but while you're shopping. Even if you're shopping at Target.
How ghetto does it look that they have to lock up the socks?
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Mike writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com with the subject line, great show. New listener, great show. So happy you're at KSFO. Keep up the good work. What took you so long to get here?
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
790 KABC welcomes Tribal Seeds with special guests, The Expendables, Mike Love, and more at the Pacific Amphitheater at the OC Fair on August 10th. It's all part of the Toyota Summer Concert Series. Tickets on sale now at pacamp.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. All concert tickets include admission to the OC Fair. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing.
And right now it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, this one involves kidnapping.
A homeless woman in Ventura tried to kidnap a 10-year-old. For more, Here's a report from KTLA.
Alvin, a young girl terrorized by a stranger in Ventura. Police arrest a woman accused of trying to kidnap the 10-year-old as she was playing outside with her friends.
What was the plan here?
Yeah, well, whenever you're dealing with the homeless, trying to psychoanalyze their behavior is difficult.
Luckily, that girl is safe tonight, but the kidnapping attempt has left neighbors shaken. KTLA's Alina Abovian spoke to the young victim and her mother in a story you'll see first on 5.
Hi, good evening. That's right. This was a terrifying situation for this family. Now, thankfully, the suspect was caught and taken into custody.
Ventura County, not LA County.
Arrest will be made.
And she's been identified to us by the Ventura County Sheriff's Department as Trinity Stewart, believed to be a local transient.
John, what do we say whenever it's a homeless person that commits a terrible crime? What do they call them?
Transients. And when they're not doing something bad, they're unhoused Angelinos.
I was scared. I tried to not pay attention to her, but she just ran at me.
10-year-old Layla Leyva is recalling the terrifying moment she was almost kidnapped. It was on Tuesday, July 22nd, around 4:20. Layla and the kids in her neighborhood were playing outside.
She got in my friend's face, which is Georgia over there, and then she just started smiling and making weird noises to us.
Weird noises?
Yeah, that's basically what the rest of us get at the gas station, too, from them.
The suspect.
Best part about owning an electric car? Not getting accosted by people at the gas station.
Yeah. Has me thinking.
The suspect loitering on their street, the 6400 block of Hummingbird. She was peeking into people's windows and trying to steal an Amazon package from a neighbor's house.
Oh, boy, she's just going for all the crimes at once.
Yeah, is there a box that she didn't check?
Layla says she then noticed the woman dancing and acting strange.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's the math.
And somehow she had gotten a hold of Layla's jacket.
The homeless lady tried to grab me. My skirt, she grabbed my skirt, but then I just kicked her off, and then I ran up to my mom.
Good girl.
Yeah, she was trained.
Layla's mom, Nikki.
That's some stranger danger right there.
Layla's mom, Nikki, was home with her younger child when she heard Layla scream for help.
When I came out, I live upstairs. I saw the lady. She's African-American, bald, homeless woman.
Wait, she's bald?
That's an odd choice for a woman.
I don't know.
Maybe it's that congresswoman from Massachusetts.
When I came out, I live upstairs. I saw the lady. She's African-American, bald, homeless woman. She had my daughter by the skirt, and Layla was coming up the stairs, screaming, saying, "Help me, Mom." She couldn't not get nothing else out. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't tell me exactly what this lady did to her. So I immediately asked her, I said, "What did you do to my daughter?"
Nikki and the suspect then got into a physical scuffle.
I didn't want to let her go. I had no phone. I was screaming for someone to call 911. We both fell opposite directions, and she was able to run away from me to the laundromat here in my neighborhood.
The laundromat?
Can you imagine that confrontation? What do you think you're doing with my kid, Montel Williams?
Bystanders saw the victim run to a nearby shopping center on Grand Avenue, where she was ultimately taken into custody.
This is not the first occurrence. I don't know if you guys heard, but 2 other times just in this neighborhood, kids were trying to be kidnapped. There was a man here. He was out of his mind. He was going to take my daughter's friends, and I screamed for her parents to come out and help.
This is why you can't allow meth on the streets, but for some reason, we allow meth on the streets.
We live among the crazy people, and occasionally they're going to kidnap a child and try to sell them.
It's not, this is the 3rd time, and I feel like they're releasing them somewhere right here in the area, or I don't know if Hillmont, the hospital's letting them out, but there's a train track back here, and they're all living back there. They're doing God.
Boy, now we're getting into all the stereotypes. They're living by the train tracks. They just got released from the hospital. This is like if you typed into one of those AI apps, give me the most stereotypical homeless story you could give me.
Here you go.
And they're all living back there. They're doing God knows what, and they're just around here. And there's nothing but kids right here. It's summer break. I don't know what else to do as a mom.
And thankfully, Layla was...
Yeah, it's time for Layla to play inside, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think you can let your kid play outdoors in that neighborhood.
not unsupervised.
And thankfully, Layla.
I don't know how anyone's a parent in this generation.
No, because you don't want to be a helicopter parent because then your kids turn out weird. But if you're not a helicopter parent, they're going to be stolen and sold on the black market.
And thankfully, Layla was not injured, just very shaken up. In Ventura, I'm Lena Bovian, KTLA 5 News.
There you go. The attempted kidnapping of a 10-year-old by a bald homeless woman in Ventura.
Now, when you were a child, did your parents go through the protocol as to what you were supposed to do if someone tried to kidnap you?
They didn't need to. We moved to Valencia.
I used to get that speech just about every single time we'd get in the car to leave the house. My mom had like a CNBC running ticker of the black market value of little blonde boys on any given day. And she had me convinced that every time we'd go to the Westminster Mall, if I didn't hold her hand the entire time we were there, I would be kidnapped and halfway to Neverland Ranch before anyone even knew I was gone. Now just think about it, Randy. Had I not paid attention to her and things worked out a little differently, I could have been the one starring in Home Alone. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
CP writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Is John in a news helicopter? John sounds like he's reporting on traffic from a news helicopter. Is he doing that during the show's commercial breaks to make more gambling money?
You know, at one point in time, the radio station wanted me to host a radio show from a helicopter over Staples Center during Michael Jackson's funeral. And I flat out said no. 0% chance I was going to do that. Are you kidding me?
Here's another email. This one comes from Kevin, who's listening online in North Carolina. Kevin writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Let me help. I'm begging you. I will overnight a proper headset to an undisclosed location of your choice. This reminds me of the radio in my 64 Mercury Comet.
You know, I could always call Wayne Newton and ask for his AV team to come over here and help.
I was literally in the break Googling, do any of the Vegas hotels have podcast studios? And you know what? The Wynn does.
Do they?
They do.
All right, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
All right, Randy, this is a new one.
We go to Pleasanton, California, where mail thieves are using glue from rat traps to steal mail.
Okay. Every so often we see these stories that repeat themselves, and on rare occasion we'll find one that's new, like when the squatter went to that house and chewed all the gum. This, I think, is a new one.
For more, here's KTVU, Fox 2.
Yeah, Mike, it's called fishing for mail. These two suspects who use these rat glue traps were themselves caught in the act by Pleasanton police.
It's pretty pathetic, I think, and it's pretty sad.
Stanley Cornelius is in shock after learning his post office in Pleasanton is where two suspects were arrested for allegedly using rat traps to fish for mail from collection boxes.
Okay, the moment you try to steal mail with a rat trap, at a certain point, regardless of whatever your circumstances are, you're questioning certain life choices, right?
The thing is, nowadays, almost everything that comes in the mail is junk or bad news. How many people are getting checks in the mail these days?
Yeah, no one. You're going to end up with some jury duty summons.
So all type of stuff come through the mail, personal items, that people need, and if people are tampering with the items, they don't get their items.
Pleasanton police say it all began one late night in December when a license plate reader alerted an officer to a wanted Toyota Echo linked to mail theft. The officer spotted the car with expired...
Those license plate readers, outside of the ones they set up in Oakland, every other city is showing a lot of success with them.
Oh, it's an algorithm, and they run it every time you go through an intersection.
The officer spotted the car with expired tags outside the Hacienda Station post office on Chabot Drive. Inside the car was a garbage bag full of mail stolen from across the Bay Area. But there was something peculiar about it. The bag, the mail, and a rubber strap were all covered in a sticky substance.
Oh, dear.
Don't take that one out of context.
In a police report...
Now, if someone just turned the car on and that's what they heard...
Well, first they'd wonder what the hell happened to you.
In a police report, Officer Eric Mossy wrote, there were multiple sticky rat traps in...
Someone's going to email us asking if we're taking donations because something obviously happened to this radio station.
In a police report, Officer Eric Mossy wrote, there were multiple sticky rat traps inside the passenger compartment of the Toyota and in the trunk. The sticky substance from the rat traps was consistent with the substance on the rubber strap and the mail.
Sometimes you'll see sticky residue on the boxes. That's another sign of tampering.
Postal inspector.
How exactly does this work? Are they putting the sticky substance to a fishing line and literally sticking a wire down the mailbox and seeing what they can grab?
Okay, here's what's funny, and I don't mean funny, ha-ha funny. I mean funny as in ironic funny. The people who are stealing the mail aren't going to get anything of value. We're both in agreement on that, right?
Yes.
Okay. But they are going to steal things like property tax bills and maybe auto insurance renewals, and if you need to renew your driver's license with the DMV. So someone who plays by the rules and does what they're supposed to do is not going to receive those items in the mail, and they're going to be dropped from their insurance policies. They're going to have a license that's expired. They're going to miss their jury duty summons. They're going to be in trouble.
Postal Inspector Matthew Norfleet says rat traps like these, commonly found at hardware stores, are just one type of mail phishing device. He says the Postal Service appreciates the work by Pleasanton police.
In this case, it's the rat who's using the trap, not...
Good use of the English language.
He says the Postal Service appreciates the work by Pleasanton police.
In this case, it's the rat who's using the trap, not getting caught in it.
Postal customers we spoke to were shocked that mouse traps were being used to trap mail.
It's insane. People nowadays will do anything to get anything, to steal information from anyone.
No, I've never heard of that. That's
what do you think about this?
Interesting tactic. You expect your mail to be taken where it should be taken. And
now the suspects, Luis Castro Rayo.
Okay, Randy, when's the last time someone has sent you money in the mail?
It's been a minute.
The last time I think I got an actual check in the mail was some class action lawsuit that I didn't even know I was part of, and the check was for something like 33 cents.
Well, that's what the criminals are after.
Swimming pools, movie stars.
Now the suspects, Luis Castro Rayo, you see his picture there, and Doris Power Cruz, they lived together in Hayward. They were.
By the way, I didn't realize that mail thieves were up to the level where we need 3 names, but these guys are some real mail thieves.
They've done this before.
Now the suspects, Luis Castro Rayo, you see his picture there, and Doris Power Cruz, they lived together in Hayward. They were each charged this week by the Alameda County DA with receiving stolen property.
Notice how we're getting a lot of stories of the Alameda County DA, the new one, actually charging people.
Now, here's a question, because I know that it happens in the local community and it's regarded as being a crime in the community. Your mail is stolen that mail belongs to you. Someone takes it. It doesn't belong to them. That's theft. And theft is a crime that's prosecuted by your county's district attorney. But if you're dealing with mail, mail is something that involves interstate commerce, interstate communication, those sorts of things. And I believe the post office, if you commit a crime in the post office, for example, that is regarded as a federal crime. I wonder if it's a federal crime to steal the mail, and maybe one of these Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys can really throw the book at these people.
Oh, I got to imagine just sticking the glue inside a mailbox. That's mail tampering. That's a federal crime. And have you noticed, by the way, I don't know if this is true in Northern California post offices, but if you go to a post office in Los Angeles County, there is a giant sticker in the front door that says, "Warning. If you commit an armed robbery of this establishment, you will receive 20 to 25 years in a federal penitentiary."
Do they do that in states other than California or just here?
I would imagine just here. Just in case you were thinking of robbing this post office, don't.